Hello, my loves. Thank you so much for everyone that's subscribing and commenting and with me on this journey, right? About narcissism and how we heal and how to actually, I feel, put an end to this, put a stop to it on the planet because it does start with us. I truly believe it. I truly believe when we don't feed it, it can't exist. They will get their karma and we will move on to our true authentic lives, and then they have a chance of an awakening. But while they're living off your life force energy, right, energetically, spiritually, they don't get their karma because they're in your field. They're getting your karma, right? This is honestly how it works. And some of the comments, right, are people talking about there's a lot of feelings we have. There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of suffering, and there's also sometimes some very strong angry feelings, revengeful feelings, hateful feelings that we get, right? That is the entity trying to turn you. The only way I can just the only way it seems similar to me is like how we understand vampires, right? A vampire turns someone. That's what they do. They feed off them and then they change them. You do not want to be changed. So if you're having those thoughts, first of all, no, it's not you. They pick on healers, empaths, light workers, loving people who are going to be compassionate enough, really, to let them get away with it. If you notice, like, if you know about the sort of flying monkey syndrome and who they have as counterparts to kind of prop up their illusionary image, right? Who they project to the world they are, which is why this is so challenging, right? Because you're going to get bullied by a narcissist, and a lot of the time people around you are going to believe the projection, and you're going to be isolated in what you know is to be true, what you're going through, and you don't even want to talk about it. And if you do, you'll probably be ganged up on, often, not always, hopefully not. I hope you've got a support system. I did not have. I also moved to a foreign country and got completely, I mean, I grew up in a narcissistic home, so I didn't have the family support in the first place, but like, yeah, I got completely isolated, and a narcissist will try and isolate you, and often there's no one you can, well, I'm not saying often, not for everyone, but like they've set up an illusion and they show up very differently to different people. Master magicians of illusion. So what's going on behind the scenes isn't the part of them that they're showing the world, and that's also where the cognitive dissonance, the complete confusion comes in. What to do if you're having some of the feelings that people are telling me they're having, which are, you know, this is the saddest thing, right? For heart-centered people, when we start feeling hateful and spiteful and like them, it confuses us and makes us feel it's extremely hard for us to hold that because we're not that kind of person, right? But you may have been pushed so far that you're having those kind of thoughts. So first of all, to know this is a symptom of this entity projecting those emotions on you. It's trying to turn you. No, it's not the real you. Also know that on a human level, it is very normal to feel angry, to feel revengeful, to feel spiteful, but do not go there as much as you can. If you have gone there, it's no problem, right? But you don't win by being by playing the narcissist game. That's what they want from you. You win by bringing back your energy field, taking back your life force energy and your psychic energy completely to yourself, letting karma have its way. Karma cannot invade while you're basically spiritually protecting them with your energy field. I know that sounds a bit strange, but honestly, that's what I believe to be true. So if you're having those thoughts, right, go back into your heart, connect to the real you. Just know, like, this is your human self having a human response, and it's not you. If you are tempted to do something, the challenge is it will cost you so much, because everything we do out of our character, every word that is spoken, action taken, right, that takes us away from our true selves and our true hearts, it hurts us as empaths. It doesn't hurt the narcissist. They enjoy it. They get fueled on it. They get excited and happy, but we get hurt. When you are being nasty, spiteful, it will play on your mind. You will lose your self-esteem. So understand this game, right? It's going to cost you more to do it because you're going to feel bad about yourself a lot of the time. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're going to tell me that you feel really good about the revenge you got. But ultimately, as a human being, it's not the energy most of us want to emit on the planet. It will take away from how you feel about yourself overall. That's not who you want to be. That's not what we came for. So take hold of yourself, take hold of your heart, and have a zero consent to this stuff. It is not compassionate to fuel an entity. I had to learn this the very hard way, right? I used to think forgiveness, kindness, blah, 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 blah. And all I was doing was I didn't understand psychic energy enough. I didn't understand how I was fueling, being a battery source to something, very, very corrupt. So our resources include our energy, include our consciousness, include what we put our emotions, our heart and our psychic energy into, and fueling this kind of entity, because they will, you can't turn them. They have to do that by themselves, and they're going to have their own awakening when karma comes their way. You can't do it for them, but while they're fueling off you, they're not going to awaken. And secondly, what I realized was I'm part of the problem by enabling this dynamic. Until I'm ready to cut the cords and step into my authentic power, my authentic truth, and I promise you, it will surprise you when you really break free how much God, the universe, whatever you believe in will get behind you. When you decide to cut the ties, you will be taken in a different direction in your life and supported in ways that I promise you it will happen. Like, you will be okay, right? Zero consent, zero tolerance. Understand that if I decide to be if I decide to consent to this, if I give my life force energy to it, I am fueling part of this consciousness on the planet. That is not a good idea, and that is why they exist, because too many of us are saying we're doing it in the name of love, but it's not loving to you or to them to diminish yourself, right? There's no love in that, because you're basically saying, I'm fueling the worst in you and I'm allowing you to diminish me. That's not love. That's not loving at all. You're not loving yourself or loving them, because by enabling the worst behavior out of them, that's not loving to them. The most loving thing you can do is not fuel it. For all of us, the most loving thing you can do is draw the line. The most loving thing you can do, it's beyond loving yourself, it's loving humanity. It's actually loving them, really, because by enabling them to become the worst of them, that's not a loving thing to do. It's not a loving thing to do. A loving thing to do is to detach from it and want the best for them overall, which would be their own spiritual awakening and karma hitting them, so that they can actually receive the consequences of what they're doing spiritually. They can actually evolve, right? But by enabling their unconscious self, their destructive self, we're not being loving to the planet, to each other, or even to them, because they need to go through the awakening for us to make the change in the world. They need to have their own awakening, right? You can't do it for them. You can't turn them, but they're going to try and turn you. So if you've had those thoughts, it's a completely normal human response. I didn't feel... Sometimes I felt anger. A lot of the time I felt extremely sad. I felt very devastated. I felt my heart was shattered over and over again from these situations. Like, I just felt a lot of pain. Personally, that was how I responded to most of it. Sometimes I did feel angry, but a lot of the time I felt just extremely sad, right? And so that's why I dedicated a lot of time to learning about it and working through it and connecting spiritually about it and wanting to see what's the solution here. What do we do here, right? We don't diminish the human race. We stand for humanity. We don't stand for dehumanized ways. It's not good for them and it's not good for you. It's not good for them or you to enable this situation. The most loving thing you can do is disengage and walk away and let them evolve. They're not going to do it while you're their battery source, I promise you. So any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for your support. you know, it's really good to talk about this because it's been such a huge journey in my life and something I'm just very cool to share right now. And it seems to be an epidemic in a lot of ways as more of us are waking up and seeing the truth of this. Someone said like they didn't want to believe in this paradigm. I didn't either, but it's been such a huge thing in my life, right? I couldn't deny it. And it's real. And I feel like perhaps the bigger light worker you are, the more you might have it come at you because like they go for a certain type of person, and that is, it is your trauma and it is your wounds, but it's also your light, right? It's like there's an ecosystem on the planet, and the lighter we are, the more conscious we are, the more love we bring. They know they're going to have to either rise or they're going to try and drag it down. So I think that's why they go for what people call light workers. And what they underestimate in us is how strong we can be. I'll tell you what real strength is. Real strength is keeping your heart open when it's been broken and shattered a million times. Strength is not turning. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of discipline, right, to stay a heart-centered person when you've got every reason to be bitter, when you've been severely betrayed and seen the worst of people. To not be changed takes enormous strength, and that's exactly what we're here to do. And that is the way to defeat the whole thing completely. To not be changed, right? And if you've made mistakes, it's okay, we all have. If you've been in reactive abuse, it's okay, we all have. But fundamentally, what they get to see is that they can't change you. They can't take you away from yourself. They can't take you away from your light. They can't take you away from your heart, your abundance, your purpose, your true, authentic, beautiful life and connections on the planet. That's how you defeat the narcissist. Lots of love, guys. I'll speak to you soon.